Neeps and Tatties, a morality tale for vegetables and other living things. Listen, wee uns, and you shall hear a tale of wae, a tale o' cheer. Just open your lugs as wheels your hurt, and when ye die, my tale can start. Now there was a time, as I will tell, and I can hardly believe it mysel, when Neeps and Tatties, such friends o' late, wadna lie doon upon the same plate. We often see them side by side, coorioning like groom and bride, but in days lang syne they were all malicious, argo bargless, rump and stump vicious. Who it began is a mystery, a woe in the mist o' history. But yinst the Carey on had commenced, the Neeps and the Tatties lost all sense. Now it's true a tatty tends to the broon, and a neep has bits o' pink aroon, and tatties are baldy frae what I hae seen, while neeps dae sprout a sprig o' green. But the roots all drink frae the same good groon. On a' their heads wan sun shines doon, but fear and hate get in the heads, so they canty spuds and couthy Swedes. They were that fu' o' fear, and likewise o' hate, that despite all they shared at the hand of fate, like life and breath, the dour dreich weather, the twa tribes wouldna come thegither. Neep mum scolded their bonny wee neeps. Dinna hang wi' nae tatties, they're killies and cheats. And tatty dads hissed in their totty wains lugs, steer clear o' their neeps, their snochels and dugs. They screeved a line across the earth. Which side you were on was a chance o' birth. Tatty stayed east, and Neeps stayed west. Each tribe share it was the best. They flung fierce words, and sometimes worse. A stick, a stain, a sneesty curse. Yin might yell, "Ho, 40 breeks!" Then a rammy would start and run for weeks. Next came a fence on the boundary line, and then a wall o' strang design. They built it high, they built it wide, till nane could see the t'other side. They splurged, they sclavered, they telt such lies, mothers sang ill-willy lullabies, and in the hearts o' young and old something grew hard and very cold. Bairns grew crabbit, and spilt, they spat, and made a cowp o' their habitat. Coarsely they threw things up o'er the wa', kenning nothing about wha bed there at a'. They trockled in the shadow o' the wa' they made. It cast a gruesome, dulesome shade, and the sound o' girning spite and pain was the ainly music they cried the rain. Then the haggis came riding across the land, striding the hills, a one-man band wi' pipes and drum, a fiddle too, and juggling fire, a broad display. Did anybody ken him? Naebody, nay. He pitched his tent on top of the wa', and the sangs sailed doon on yin and a'. They shut the windies, they slammed the doors. All you could hear were the feathers' roars. Dinna gang out, a scunner's in toon, some mocket mingin' outland loon. It's a trick o' the Neeps, the tatties cried. Get the bairns and stay inside. The Neeps cawed out, it's a tatty plot. Tak up your claymore, grab your slingshot. But the sonsy haggis just sat and played. And the sun gaed doon, and he never strayed. The Neeps and the tatties, they snivelled and shook, and dinna daur to tak a look. But yin wee tatty, that couldna sleep, got up in the nicht, and sae did yin Neep. The sang o' the haggis sae tender and sweet drew them out o' their beds and onto the street. Yin wee younklin, each side o' the wa', baith mothers wee pooties, lifesome and sma', crept through the mirk without a word, lured by a sound they'd never heard. Each stood a blow and stared above. The haggis sent doon his sangs o' love. Then he took a lang rape and cast it wide, sae yin end landed on ilka side. The Neep and the Tatty took hold of the line, nae wise to each other, they stert it decline. The upstonin haggis just juggled and sang. He finished 3 verses. The way up was lang. Now imagine what happened. The wains reached the summit, caught sick to each other, and started to plummet. "Dinna louse," cried the haggis. "Haud ticht or you'll fa'. You depend on each other to conquer this war." Sae they held, but they grumbled, they girned and they craked, while the old haggis laughed till his squishy sides ached. "Up here we can play, we can sing, we can dance, but only if you gie each other a chance." They were dangling richt up at the tippity tap, getting ready to spit, but decided to stop. The haggis said, "Look, you'll drop doon if you falter. Gravity's something that nae one can alter. Together you'll manage, just sing as you tread. Now smile at each other, dinna lose your wee heed." Then the Neep and the Tatty, they ettled to stone, by gieing each other a shy helping hon. Then they felt that giggly and grateful and free. They clapped and they laughed and the haggis made 3. They sat doon together in dumfooner delicht, and sang and telt stories all through the bricht nicht. Sae by morning the soons coming doon to the street were that blithe and joyful they made Tatties greet. The Neeps tae were bubbling, all hearts were burst open, just what the haggis had always been hoping. Ye ken then what happened? They all spieled up and drank for the haggis's braw-loving cup. They danced and sang and joined every game. No a Neep nor a Tatty stayed girning at hame. A new tune grew up on tap with a wa', and famed was its welcome to yin and to a'. Joy hackum plackum to share and to keep, be ye muckle great haggis, or Tatty or Neep. Happy together and tasty they 3, and is that now the way that we're all meant to be? Our roots o' drink for the same good grun, on all our heads one sun shines doon. So here's a hail just our glib gabbit sang, all good vegetables should get a lang. Now be a good Tatty, or be a good Neep, slush about in the gravy, then hae a good sleep. The end.